Conspiracy theory TikToks that'll make you question reality. We are back again with part, I don't even know where we are, but comment down below. Let me know y'all's thoughts. Let's get into it, man. Peace, love, prosperity.
Strangest Unsolved Mysteries from Every U.S. State, Part 42, Montana. Just outside of the Glacier National Park in Montana, there's a location where the laws of nature don't really seem to apply. At that location, the gravity is so strange that the trees always grow sideways, and the people who are there appear so much shorter than they actually are. In addition, if you place a marble at the bottom of a steep hill, it will begin to roll up the hill, and if you drop a rope from the ceiling, it will fall on a curve instead of just straight down. Today, the location is a popular tourist attraction, and many people come from all over just to experience its strangeness.
The gravitational
Wild conspiracy
pull.
theories that are either totally true or straight up dumb. Part 1. In Southeast Europe, there lies a country named Bosnia. A group of complex hills can be found there that have come to be known as the Bosnian Pyramids. Now, they appear to look very similar to the well-known pyramids of Egypt. Now, scientists claim that the hills are just naturally triangular shaped and not man-made at all. However, some wild theorists have started to claim that the hills are in fact man-made with the help of extraterrestrial beings. Pretty wild, right? And comment down below and let me know what you think of these
strangest unsolved cases.
I think that a lot of the ET talk, although I think a lot of it is factual, right? There's things that have been discovered that have been found that we can't even really like discredit at this point. You know, all the Area 51, all the sightings, what the government is gradually exposing. We've seen some players actually openly speaking about things at this point. So I think that it can't be negated, but a lot of I do think additionally there's a lot of hoopla around, you know, UFOs and things of that nature. What do they call them? UPAs? I forgot the other term. That I think that the people are like buying into mass hysteria.
From around the world. England. On April 18th, 1943, 4 boys were searching for birds' nests when they looked inside a hollowed wych elm, and what they saw staring back at them was a human skull. Investigators would find a skeleton, a wedding ring, and a shoe, and inside the skull's mouth was a crumpled up piece of taffeta, suggesting she died by suffocation.
Somebody killed their wife.
And then in 1944, the graffiti began, suggesting that someone knew who she was, and it's been theorized she was killed because she was a spy and it was wartime, or that witches sacrificed her in a ritual, but to this day, no one knows who she is or who killed her.
Sound like she a nobody.
Most of the theory is
The
He
Beatles.
died in 1966 and was replaced by an imposter, according to this theory. The gist of the theory is that on November 9th, 1966, after an argument during a Beatles recording session, Paul went speeding off in a car and ended up in a car accident resulting in his death. Then the UK agency MI5 had him replaced with a lookalike. The reason he was replaced was because of fears of mass hysteria and suicide if the news broke. Over the years, the Beatles felt bad about the cover-up and decided to leave clues in their album covers and songs. On the famous cover of Abbey Road where the Beatles are crossing the street, people came up with the theory that it's a funeral procession. John dressed in white is the preacher. Ringo dressed in black is the undertaker. George is dressed in blue jeans because he is the gravedigger. And Paul is wearing a black suit like a corpse. He is also out of step with the others and barefoot, which is a sign of mourning in Sicily. In his right hand is a cigarette that's pointing towards the ground, and in the 1960s, cigarettes were known as coffin nails in the UK, representing that the real Paul is in a coffin in the ground. That is just one of the many clues that have been found.
Cigarettes are known as coffin nails. That's crazy work. Just speaking to the magnitude of its connection to death and mortality, right? That's wild work. It's crazy how much symbolism there is throughout the world, or what certain references that may have came from certain parts of the world or certain time periods, decades. Like, you never know. Well, that's why I don't take things for granted. There's so many things that actually have a meaning. Like, if you were to go about in life thinking that things don't mean anything, you're just an idiot. You know what I mean? And you're an idiot, bro. You're an idiot. So let's take this picture back. He's the only one that's barefoot. That's crazy work. I did not know that. Nah, this is the real Paul McCartney, man. He speaks too highly on certain things that only Paul McCartney would know.
John dressed in white is the preacher. Ringo dressed in black is the undertaker. George is dressed in blue jeans because he is the gravedigger. And Paul is wearing a black suit like a corpse. He is also out of step with the others and barefoot, which is a sign of mourning in Sicily. In his right hand is a cigarette that's pointing towards the ground, and in the 1960s, cigarettes were known as coffin nails in the UK, representing that the real Paul is in a coffin in the ground. That is just one of the many clues that have been found since this theory began in 1969.
Here's the mystery of the Umbrella Man. Okay, so this is kind of like a part 2 to the one that I posted yesterday about the babushka lady.
Slender
They're
Man?
essentially the same thing, but it's a little bit of a quirk. The date is November 22nd, 1963, the date that JFK was assassinated. JFK's motorcade passes through Dealey Plaza. Standing on this side is the babushka lady, like I said yesterday. However, on the other side of the road is a man holding an umbrella. He was given the pseudonym Umbrella Man. It's normal to have an umbrella, but not on a bright and sunny day where it was 70 degrees in Dallas, Texas. And here we go, where things get weird. Right as JFK's motorcade was about to pass, the Umbrella Man opened his umbrella. Some people believe that this is a signal for the first shooter to shoot, and it is presumed that this is Lee Harvey Oswald. And right when JFK passed him, the Umbrella Man panned his umbrella from east to west, which would have been clockwise. And then right after that, the President of the United States was assassinated. As the motorcade sped away, the Umbrella Man sat down on the sidewalk with another man, and then got up and went to the Texas School Book Depository.
Bro had a makeshift weapon. You know, a lot of people got him in the cane. Dude had it in his umbrella. Like, a lot of canes are actually swords. Dude had a whole umbrella gun. Now, if that wasn't slick, especially for the time, I don't know what else is.
What do you think?
The strangest, and I do mean strangest, unsolved mysteries from each state. Today we have Mississippi. And the story is long with a lot of information, so keep up and pay attention. This is a picture of Christian Andreakio when he was 21 years old on February 26, 2014. He allegedly killed himself. Allegedly, but I don't believe he actually did. He was from Meridian, Mississippi, and worked on the Magnolia Marine in Vicksburg, Mississippi. The Magnolia Marine is a huge boat and basically a transport system. He was the manager and made quite a bit of money, at least to buy jet skis, 2 cars, and have enough money left in his bank account. Now, he was 21 and he was dating a 17-year-old girl named Whitley Goodman. Whitley did not have a good home life, and she actually had to move in with Christian and his family, but his family really did not like it, and they said that she had to leave. So Christian and his good friend Josh got an apartment together, and of course he said that Whitley could stay with him. He also said that Whitley could drive his BMW. Christian's job required him to be on the water 30 days straight at a time. Right before he left on February 22nd, him and Whitley started getting into really big fights, and he said that she had to move out and she couldn't drive his car anymore. When he was on the boat, he started getting upsetting calls from his friend. Part 2 is on its way!
This is why you should never go hiking on Dead Mountain. Be warned, this is one of the most scariest true stories ever told. And even to this day, 60 years later, remains one of the most unsolved mysteries ever. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass incident. The year is 1959 at the height of the Cold War. 9 Soviet university students decided to go hiking in the frozen Siberia. So as they're hiking, families start to get worried because they have not heard from their loved one. They send a team out to search for them, and they find their campsite on the height of Dead Mountain. Here's where the conspiracy theories come. Their bodies, all of them, were found in the most random places on this mountain. And even scarier than that, every single one of these people you see were found undressed. And a couple of them were found with their eyes and tongue cut out. Some people believe that these people may have found a military weapon and the Soviets killed them. Some people believe this was some kind of UFO incident. And some people believe that this was some kind of Yeti attack because
all the eyes and the tongue theories, man. There was a previous video we watched, and I was watching. I'm not sure if y'all heard of the movie Wrong Turn, but there's a newer version that came out. But there's a scene in the movie to where these people venture into these forest dwellers camp, and they actually kill one of their people. So of course, in their society, they have to hold them accountable, and there's a certain little judgment they go through, but they've been banned to this whole this dark pit essentially, and before they put them in the pit, they burn their eyes out, and dude said see no evil. So in this situation, a lot of people, when they remove the eyes, it's to see no evil. When they remove the tongue, it's to speak no evil. When they burn your ears, it's to hear no evil. I don't know where that little thing originated from, but to have your eyes and your tongue removed, I'm not sure if that was some type of cult or, wild group that lived there and that was tradition for them, or they collected these items. But that's what I think. See no evil, speak no evil.
all of their stuff on the campground was untouched.
Unsolved Mysteries Part 1. In 2011, divers were searching the Baltic Sea when they came around this big, huge rock circular formation. It was said to have stairs and even creepy entranceways. Some believe it's some type of experimental ship from World War II. Strangely, it's made out of magnesium, iron, and titanium.
What
And
the?
there's a strange 40 megahertz signal coming from around it. Could it be aliens?
That's ahead of
Could
its
it be our
time.
ancient ancestors' technology? Scientists still don't know to this day, and it baffles them. What do you guys think it is? And like this video for part 2.
It just doesn't make sense. This case is weird. Phoebe Handsjuk was found dead in her Melbourne, Australia apartment building in December of 2010 at the bottom of a trash chute. Police said she was intoxicated and decided to climb into the chute on the 12th floor to fall 130 feet down to kill herself. But they didn't test the blood that was found in her apartment that she shared with her boyfriend, didn't look into the unexplained bruising on her body, didn't even question how she could have gone into the chute, which was 3 feet off the ground.
And didn't even think about the fact that that's probably one of the most painful ways to take yourself out. You know, when people try to assume that there's some suicide theory, but then the means in which the person died or killed themselves seems to be very, like, come on, man. Human psychology tells us that, we would want to eliminate ourselves or take ourselves out in the least painful way. Now, historically, we've seen people do it very savagely, right? Don't get me wrong. I know even samurai, like, they stabbed themselves in the stomach with the sword, right? So we've seen people kill themselves in a pretty horrendous kind of way. But ideally, people usually shoot themselves in the head because it's quick, immediate, painless, supposedly. I don't know. We don't know what that feels like, but, or just a quick death. People want to die in their sleep. Like, to go down the chute in this situation of her building or her apartment chute, whatever it was, to kill herself that way, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. That sounds like an attempt that has no guarantee. Let's say you fall down the chute and the fall doesn't kill you. It just breaks your legs or breaks the lower half of your body. Paralyzes you. It just doesn't seem like an efficient way.
With her jeans around her knees. And when the scenario was exactly replicated with someone sober, it was almost impossible.
Like, look at this.
So how did Phoebe get into a 14-inch opening feet first without leaving any fingerprints on the outside of the chute, all while intoxicated?
This is the conspiracy theory that Britney Spears was working for President George Bush. Basically, anytime George Bush had a scandal, Britney would do something crazy that would cover it up. On January 5th, 2004, President Bush was trying to distance himself from the Valerie Plame scandal. So Britney had a wild 55-hour marriage to Jason Alexander. April 11th, 2006, Bush's approval ratings hit an all-time low of 38%, mainly due to the Iraq War. Instead, the news is covering Britney's visits from child welfare. February 2007, President Bush announced the reformation of Al-Qaeda, who he promised to hunt down and eliminate after 9/11. Enter the famous Britney meltdown. If you look into this more, you'll see a few more examples. So, was she forced to do this by the government? Did she work for Bush? Or does this just show America's obsession with pop culture?
Yeah, that could be it.
Over government issues.
We should just trust our president in every decision that he makes, and we should just support that, and be faithful in what happens.
Anyways, man, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know y'all's thoughts on these in the comment section below. We'll see y'all in the next reaction, man. Peace.